So Jaguar, the iconic British car brand, has been making the headlines for, well, depending on how you look at it, either the wrong or the right reasons. That's very much depends on how you stand when it comes to their recent rebrand, which is a complete rebrand in every sense of the word. They have absolutely ditched their heritage and gone with something completely new, which some people think, yeah, it's a bit of a out there kind of thing for them to do, but they need to do something different because they are struggling financially. Whereas I think most people sit on the side that I'm on, where they think, what on earth are they thinking? How on earth do they think this is a good idea? And unfortunately for them, to start 2025, they are starting on a bit of a low, which, depending on how you read it, might read as, oh, well, they've done this rebrand and it's been a disaster. But to be honest, looking at the sales figures, this could be a sign of things to come. However, it could also just be a bit of a hangover, really, from what they previously were, because their 2024 cars, they're still out there, and at the end of the day, the new cars in 2025 are not on sale yet. So their complete rebrand and revamp has not taken full effect. But let me just explain what I mean by that. So basically, over the last few days, Jaguar have announced their sales figures for 2024, and it is not good. It is not good, that's for sure. So in 2023, they sold just over 45,000 units of cars throughout the entire year. However, in 2024, registration of new vehicles by Jaguar has fallen to 33,000. So they have fallen by around 12,500 in total, which works out to about a quarter. Their overall loss of sales is around 20-25%, which is really bad. And it was going down for quite some time as well, to say the least. But like I said, it's kind of a new era for Jaguar. It could be a disaster for them, to put it lightly, but it is a new era for them. There's a lot of change going on. And like I said, I've already covered the advert, the very controversial advert that was put out, and also the reveal of their car at that Miami Auto Show as well last year. Now, changes at Jaguar are not something that have been completely out of the blue. If you look at how they have been changing their manufacturing process, particularly here in the UK, you will have known that this has been coming for some time, that changes have been afoot for a long time. The XE and XF saloons, as well as the F-Type sports cars, all ended production in the UK in May 2024. The F-Pace will continue to be manufactured in Solihull in England for the foreseeable future. However, this will be the only outpost for overseas market. These F-Paces will not go to the UK market. They will be exported overseas. The E-Pace SUV and the I-Pace as well also ceased production in December 2024. And you can still get them, but it's only for corporate clients, only for businesses effectively. You can't actually get one of these I-Paces for personal use right now. You can do if you're a business client, but not if you are doing it for personal transportation means. And what that all means is that Jaguar's pretty much ended all of their car sales in the UK for the first time since the Second World War. It's literally been 80 years. So again, big changes are afoot. I understand the ethos behind that, but it's not great reading. I will admit, it's not amazing reading actually going through this sort of stuff. On the contrary, so for those that don't know, Jaguar are part of Jaguar Land Rover. As the name suggests, they are a combination of both Jaguar and Land Rover, the same company effectively. Still Jaguar cars and there's still Land Rover cars and Range Rover cars as well stalled underneath them, but they're all under the big umbrella of an Indian owner. I believe it's Tata over in India that actually own that entire brand. But the thing is, the good news for the company as a whole is that Land Rovers and Range Rover sales are absolutely booming right now. So that's really offsetting a lot of the issues with Jaguar. I think that is effectively keeping them afloat at this point. In fact, if you take the final quarter of 2024 and compare it with the final quarter of 2023, Range Rovers have seen an increase in sales of 12% year on year. And classic Range Rovers on the whole have rose by around 22% as well, while the Sport and Evoque models rose by around 17 and 15% respectively. So Land Rover and Range Rover, all that brand, is doing really well right now, whereas Jaguar is doing the exact opposite. Land Rover Defender sales as well, they also surged by around 13% last year, while Discovery sales increased by 1.5%. Again, it's all moving in the right direction for them, and in truth, I think that's keeping the company afloat at this point. That is probably stopping Tata looking to actually sell Jaguar, in fact, because of that. So overall, that means that Range Rover sales on the whole, they increased from 339,000 to 366,000 in 2024. That first figure being for 2023. But Jaguar are not doing well, like I said. But it's nothing new. They've been struggling for a very long time now. I don't think they've made a profit in well over 10 years in terms of how many sales they're making compared to their actual output. In 2022, Jaguar sold around 61,000 cars, which was almost double what we saw in 2024, 33,000 for that year. And in 2019, pre-pandemic, they sold 161,000. So right now, they are selling less than around a fifth, just over a fifth of what they sold 5 years ago. It's not, I know a lot's happened in these 5 years, obviously, but that is a bad sign for them. But when it comes to the rebrand, there's been some news that's come out about this. Jaguar have been defending their actions when it comes to this. Apparently, around 800 people were reported to worked on the rebrand, with the managing director, Rawdon Glover, saying the following on the rebrand: "We need to change people's perceptions of what Jaguar stands for." And he also denied that the firm was throwing away its near 100-year heritage with its most dramatic rebrand in decades. I would say ever. This is the most dramatic car rebrand ever. I can't think of one that's had this impact, good or bad, in the history of the automotive industry. This is say what you want about it, criticize it all you want, and don't worry, I have, but you cannot deny that it's bold and it's different, and it's absolutely annoyed a lot of people. And again, just go on, to kind of consolidate what I've said about this as well. Glover's also said, if we play in the same way that everybody else does, we'll just get drowned out. So we shouldn't turn up like an auto brand. I agree with that to an extent. If you do the same thing as everybody else, you're gonna get drowned out by BMW, Audi, Mercedes. There's much more power and prestige behind those German brands than what there are for Jaguar. Let's be honest here, especially on a global stage. Maybe in the UK it's different, but in a lot of countries, particularly in Europe, like Jaguar, we cannot realistically compete with them doing the same thing. He went on to say as well, we need to re-establish our brand at a completely different price point, so we need to act differently. We wanted to move away from the traditional automotive stereotypes. Well, they've definitely done that. They've left those well in the rearview mirror, absolutely. Jeremy McGovern also said on this as well, the concept car unveiled in December would not be loved by everybody, but also added, that's what fearless creativity does. And again, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Things that are very out there are not often loved by everybody. It shocks a lot of people. It surprises a lot of people. And it does, of course, annoy some of the core audience, of course. But there has to be method behind the madness. There has to be something that makes sense. I mean, they are saying that this Penelope pit stop mobile, whatever it is, the new one they're making, that big pink bold car, which looks absolutely hideous in my opinion. They're saying that's meant to be an average everyday car for city people, people who are commuting within cities. And it's like, how the hell are you going to get a parking spot for that bad boy? It's massive. It's like a Rolls Royce. It's huge. It'd be easy to to park a double-decker bus or something, man. Honestly, it's incredible. So I see what they're trying to do. I understand the ethos of what they're trying to do. I just think they're going the wrong way about it. And to mention the W word, woke, of course, a lot of people are saying, oh, Jaguar's gone woke. And to be honest with you, without going too much into politics and stuff, I don't even know what woke means anymore. People use it to describe anything they don't like. So in that sense, yes, I would describe it as that. But I don't think that's the actual meaning of the word. I feel like there's a bit more to it than that. And I don't think they've done. I think they've genuinely tried to do something different, to try and shock people into talking about it. And it's worked in a sense. But the problem is, you have to try and attract an audience to try and buy these cars. And that thing ain't going to be cheap. I don't know how much that thing is going to cost, but that is not going to be something that the average everyday person can afford. This is going to be something that only rich people can afford. People who are high up in jobs. I reckon that car, looking at it, in the UK, that's going to cost a minimum of 50 grand. Easy. I could see that being 6 figures. Easy as well. Honestly, that could be anything. It's so out there. So then who can actually afford this? The people that might want to, do it as a kind of fashion statement and stuff like that, super rich and stuff like that. All right, yeah, fair enough. They can afford it if they want, absolutely. Then you're competing against the best cars in the world. Can that compete against that? Don't know. Need to do some sort of test drive or something to say for sure. But on the same token, people who might be impressed by it are, with the greatest respect, they're not going to be able to afford something like that. They're not, you're not going to see it. I mean, I might be wrong here. There will be the odd one, I'm sure. But in general, the kind of clientele in terms of the people that are going to be able to afford something like that, they are not going to go for that. They're just not. They are not the pink 10 feet Jaguar kind of people. They're a boring grey Mercedes, Audi, BMW kind of person. You know what I'm talking about here. I think this is going to be a disaster. I stand by what I said months ago when this first comes out. This is the beginning of the end for Jaguar in more than one way. It could be the end of the brand as a whole, but it is absolutely the end of what we knew as Jaguar. Before all this happened, I genuinely, honest to God, a Jaguar was one of my dream cars to have. I absolutely wanted one, and I might still get one, but it'd have to be an older one. I want one of these. Honestly, I just don't see how this can work. Yeah, what they were doing before wasn't working either, and they had to do something different. But this ain't it, Chief. This ain't it, Chief. At all. It's just not. It's absolutely not. But guys, I've gone on for like 10 minutes here. This was meant to be a 5-minute video. It was never going to be a 5-minute video, was it? But, when it comes to the sales figures, I think the last thing to touch on before I sign off this video, the sales figures, a lot of people, and a very prominent politician in the UK, you know who I'm talking about. They've said, oh yeah, go woke and go broke. I don't think the rebrand is really to blame for this. I mean, these are figures for the entire year. The rebrand was announced in October, November time, wasn't that long ago. So we've only known about this new Jaguar for a couple months. The sales figures as a whole might have been hurt by this, but there's a few things going on there. They're obviously scaling down production and completely phasing it out pretty much at this point. That's going to hurt the sales figures. And on the whole, they've been going down anyway. So, I don't think this is the final nail in the coffin by any means. It's not a surprise that the sales figures have fallen, because they've been falling all year. That is not a surprise. So I just want to add some context that, because a lot of people are going to try and misinterpret that. A lot of people are going to try and paint the picture, and already have tried to paint the picture of, oh, you've done this rebrand, it's killed off your brand. You're doing great until then. No, they weren't. They were really struggling before then, and they've continued to struggle, and they're going to continue to struggle. And whether they can recover or not is another thing, but we'll see. I hope they do. I want to see them do well. I do. I always stick up for the British brands. I want to see Jaguar. I want to see Land Rover, Rolls-Royce, Vauxhall, Bentley. I want to see these British brands do well. I want to see them succeed. But I just don't think this is the right way for Jaguar to do it. And I stick by that point. And if I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up and I'll talk about it. 100%. I hope I'm wrong, but we'll see. But guys, what do you think? Is this rebrand going to be the start of the new Jaguar or the end of Jaguar as a whole? Comment in the comments below if you want to get your opinion across. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And of course, for much more news on the automotive industry, good, bad, and pink ugly, let us know. If you want to see some more of that, subscribe and follow and like and share and all that good stuff, and you'll see more stuff from us here on themotoringchronicle.com. Like, share, comment, subscribe, ring the bell as well. See you soon, guys. Have a good one.